What is up, guys? Ricardo-san here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a World Championship format deck profile. So this is Breakthrough all the way up to Celestial Storm. I'm actually on vacation right now. I'm in Cincinnati. I was in Lexington, Kentucky yesterday for it was like a weekly tournament sort of thing, and I played this with a couple cards off, and I went 102 because they made their weekly tournaments best of three. I don't know either, but yeah, I will try to go over this as best as possible. This is Zoroark. I wouldn't really call it Zoroark Magcargo. I run like a 1-1. Spoilers, because Zoroark Magcargo generally has 2-2. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to go over this best possible. Very, very similar to Tord's. So if you know the ins and outs of Tord's deck, some of these parts might be a little bit boring, but I'm gonna try to go over them as quickly as possible because a lot of you would know what Tord's deck did already. So yeah, we're going to start off with the 4/4 Zoroark line. No more nor less. Would not cut that boy for anything. And then yeah, the 1/1 Magcargo I was talking about. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 2/2, even in the straight Zoroark deck. My rationale for that is pretty much you never need the second Magcargo. You're never gonna set it up. You're never gonna want to bridge it double Slugma. It's just a waste of space. You'd rather have another Zoroark. If you're gonna bridge it for 2 Slugma, might as well bridge it for a Zora. I don't even bridge it for Slugma half the time. Like if I start Oranguru and well, if I start Oranguru, I'd probably bridge it for the double Zora Slugma if I went first. But if it was against like Buzzwole or something, I'd still go for triple Zora. I wouldn't even grab Slugma in the Buzzwole matchup. So I guess in the Buzzwole matchup, a 2/2 would be like very slightly better. But I mean, there's just so many cards in here. I can't drop anything, right? Everything in here I need for something. I'd have to drop like Max Potion or Enhance Hammer, which kind of like shatters the purpose of the deck. I'd rather run more useful cards than like Magcargo because if I ran more useful cards, then I could use them more. If I ran more Magcargo, I could search for them more, but then I would have less useful cards. So yeah, that's kind of my rationale behind the 1/1, even in this Zoroark control archetype. So yeah, 1/1 Magcargo. I run 3 Lele. Because I run the Magcargo, bench space is a little bit of an issue. Not too much of an issue, but yeah, 4 Lele that Tord played. I mean, we all know Tord loves his 4 Lele. I definitely see 4 Lele as very, very strong, and I would recommend playing it if you guys have any like Forbidden Light tournaments. Or by that I mean Breakthrough through Forbidden Light to like Nationals format. If you have any more of those tournaments left, definitely recommend a 4 Lele. Obviously, Tord's list was kind of perfect. I don't really think I would change anything about it. Except now we're in Celestial Storm, and we have Magcargo. So yeah, 3 Lele, definitely. 1 Mute EX because Buzzwole is still a thing. Buzzwole will not die out. I am fairly sure, I'm just going to scooch this over a little bit more, fairly sure on that. Rayquaza hype will definitely be real, but Buzzwole will not die out, which brings me to my next card, Sylveon. For those of you who have no idea what this card does, where's the camera? Yeah, so we have Dress Up, so it does 30, and if he has a tool attached, it does 30 more. You can kind of already guess where this is going. Choice Band, one-shots Ray. That's about as easy as that. We only run 1 Choice Band, so it's kind of hard to get this thing out, especially without Mallow. So it's going to be tricky. But, I mean, this thing single-handedly just, like, destroys Rayquaza. If you get with this in a Choice Band, they have to Latias and then start charging, and, I mean, this thing is just so strong. Even, like, against the Garbodor variant, you can still dress up and one-shot them. So, yeah, the Garb variant is... but the Garb variant's always harder, just because it's generally better against Zoroark decks. Yeah, then for our last Pokemon, we have the 1 Oranguru, the star of the show. For those of you guys who don't know what Tord Shenanigans was about, essentially you hit hard with Zoroark early game. You kind of threaten them into wanting to burn stuff, and then you plop down this guy, and then once they're out of like Guzma's, Floatstones, puzzles, whatever, you catch her, and then you just resource management and you just deck them out. So like Zoroark is pretty good of an attacker, but it's not great. You know, like if this thing didn't run Oranguru, it'd be like the most mediocre. You know, like what is this? It's like stupid, but it's like Zoroark is really good in the early game, and then Oranguru is really good in the late game. So yeah, this combo definitely strong. I've seen people run two. I've never prized this guy when I needed it, so I'm not gonna run two. But if you prize Oranguru a lot, sure, run two. Definitely a consideration to be had there. Yeah, so then we got, for our supporters, we got 3 Bridget, 3 N. This is pretty much towards supporter count, so I'm not going to go too much into depth with it. And 3 Guzma. Yeah, obviously we run Counter Catcher, so we don't need to run the 4th Guzma. If Counter Catcher wasn't real, definitely the 4th Guzma. Then we run Delinquent, which I'm just gonna mention the cards I was thinking about dropping for the 2/2 Magcargo or whatever. I was thinking about dropping Delinquent. The more and more I play with the deck, the more I realize that Delinquent is just very, very strong. Especially the Delinquent chain like late game. I haven't really, and then like against Sylveon, you want a Delinquent chain. Yeah, I haven't really come in like too many situations with Delinquent chain, but like against one of the matches I had like it was like this weekend at the locals. I would just like Delinquent chain, and then like I was winning. I would have won already, but it's like now I knew that if they had like Super Rod or whatever, they couldn't make a comeback, you know. So I just a really, really nice card to just like clench the game when you have it. One Sycamore, because Sycamore out of a hand of nothing is really nice. If you have like I don't know, I like last night I made a play where I had Evo Soda, Zoroark GX, and Sycamore, and I Evo Soda'd the last Zoroark from deck onto the Zora, and then I Sycamore because I had triple Zoroark in play. So you can do things like that. You can kind of thin your deck sort of like that. Thinking about making out a second Cynthia just because it's kind of niche. I don't know. People have it in there still, so it must be good still. One Acerilla, really, really nice in combination with Magcargo. You double trade. You're like, oh shoot, I don't want a max potion. Smooth over for Acerilla. Trade into it, Acerilla. Very, very nice. One Cynthia for draw support, and one Flare Grunt. Flare Grunt becomes especially good in Celestial Storm with Shiftry. I feel like a lot of people are going to play Shiftry. I think it's good against people who don't know how to play Zoroark. Like if you're playing against a bad Zoroark player and you're playing Shiftry, you can definitely take the win for sure. I think Perplexes are really strong first attack, and the second attack can wreak some havoc if Zoroark is not prepared for it. But you pretty much beat Shiftry by never letting them use the second attack. So you pretty much Flare Grunt, Enhance Hammer, do all that stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't really cut Flare Grunt for anything. And then yeah, I'd also like to mention Zero Mallow. I really want to put into Mallow, even though I have the 1/1 Magcargo. But there's not many items. Like I'd only really Mallow for like, I guess the Choice Band and the Ray matchup. That's the second puzzle maybe. But all things that you can smooth over for, because it's just one card. But the Mallow is really, really good. I just don't know what to draw for it. I just don't know. I'm just not like an expert Zoroark player, I guess. I think I'm pretty solid, but like I need some work with this deck. We got 4 Ultra Ball, pretty standard. 4 puzzle. Gonna be sad for when this gets banned. 3 Evo Soda. This is also one of the cards I was thinking about cutting, but with Magcargo, it's just so strong. The fact that you're able, like if you start double Evo Soda, you can like Evo Soda into Zoroark, Evo Soda into Magcargo, and then Magcargo for Zoroark, and it's fun. I would definitely recommend doing that if you can. 3 Enhance Hammer. This is also one of the cards which I actually did cut to 2 for like, I cut this and then like, I think the Delinquent for the 2/2 Magcargo, and I tested it and I prized the second hammer in a lot of games. There's this one game I played against my buddy and I prized both hammer. And it's like, well, if I had the third hammer, I'd have a chance, you know. But even if you don't prize anything, I still think it's very, very strong. Just having the ability to trade into hammers rather than puzzling form against like a Zoroark, against a Zoroark variant is just very, very strong. I wouldn't cut this below 3 because that's what the deck does. It just disrupts and hits hard with Zoroark. I don't have much room for this. Sorry, I'm in the hotel. 2 blower, 2 max potion, pretty standard. Max potion was also a cuttable slot, but I believe in 2 max potion. I've been puzzling for max potions way too often, so I'm just gonna keep the 2 max potions. I don't have to do that as much. 2 counter catcher, for obvious reasons, helps with Oranguru. You guys already know towards deck. You don't need me to explain it, but it's really nice because Zora has like so little HP. If you're playing against Buzz, you can snipe their Rockruff, and not knock out like their active GX. So then you can force you can get around Sledgehammer quite easily. So yeah, that is the counter catcher. 1 choice band for Sylveon. It's not just for Sylveon. It's actually pretty nice on Zoroark. This deck doesn't against Zoroark variants. I find that a lot of times, even when I guess it's more when I miss a turn 1 Bridget, but like when I get parallel locked, I'm just unlucky. I just can't find field blowers. Like when I get parallel locked, I just stay like that for a while, and it's awful. But choice band with parallel, it hits that 110. So even if I guess if they blower, you're kind of screwed. But if they blower you away, they still have that 110, and then you can just find the field blower next turn. Whereas if you don't have choice band and you hit for 80, there's no possible way you can knock them out without choice band. Even Reverse Valley bumps it up to 130 with a full bench. So choice band definitely helps with numbers. It's not just for Sylveon. The 1-1 for Ray, it seems really niche, and that's probably because it kind of is. I just can't justify putting a second of either of them. I don't think a second of choice band is really necessary because you prize Sylveon is just kind of oh, I got 2 choice band. But yeah, then we got 1 float stone. Really want to, really want to, but yeah, it is what it is. And then we got 1 rescue stretcher to round off our item line. This is also one of the cuttable cards. I really like rescue stretcher though. Mainly for Zora. There's a lot of times when I have the puzzle and I'm like, man, I wish this was a rescue stretcher, so I don't have to double puzzle for Zoroark presence. Also very strong late game for Oranguru. If you start with it, that's really it. If you start with it and then it dies, or for some reason they target Slugma and then try to stop you from getting Magcargo, then you just stretch her and be like, that was for nothing. For Sylveon, from you, yeah, very strong. Would not cut that for anything. One thing I would like to mention is actually the card which I just took out right before the video. 2 weakness policy, which is actually what I played last night. It was Celestial Storm legal, and I wouldn't have had it any other way because nobody was playing Rayquaza. So and I actually played against a Buzz without Field Blower, but I feel like a lot of Buzz players will play Field Blower, so that's why I dropped the weakness policy. I don't think you can do double weakness policy plus Sylveon choice band. If I were to drop anything, maybe see, I just couldn't do it because I like all these cards so much. Probably Delinquent and Evo Sword? I don't know, because I just don't know. I feel like you can only do one or the other. I just love all these cards, you know. I'm just spoiled with all of them. I can't really cut anything. Then for the stadiums, we got 2 parallel, obviously very strong, and then 1 reverse valley. God, running out of room here. Reverse valley is really good against Baby Buzz. I know that becomes pretty underwhelming with no weakness policy, but when you think about it, if you take a good look at it, think of when weakness policy matters. Weakness policy matters when you hit 4 prizes, and that's when they take the big knockout with Sledgehammer. That's when weakness policy matters, and that's because everything else is a 2-shot, and we run Max Potion Acerola, right? So if they promote the Baby Buzz and Sledge for knockout, then we reverse Valley and knock them out, and I guess if they hit a B-string to a bench baby and then swing around, That's a big oof. But if they don't do that, if they whiff a Beast Ring, then suddenly no weakness policy sounds appealing. And even if they do like triple energy or whatever, that's why we have Mew. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Without weakness policy, it's definitely a harder matchup, but you can definitely play around it. Especially, I feel like Buzzwole players, like if you're playing Buzzwole for Worlds, you have to play Field Blower, right? You just can't get around it. So they're gonna play Field Blower, and yeah, double reverse psychology. They play Field Blower for your weakness policy that you don't run. So yeah, power plays right there, and then obviously the 4 double colorless energy. So I think that pretty much rounds out the list. The 61st, 2nd, and 3rd cards would probably have to be the double weakness policy and the Mallow, just because I really want all 3 of those cards. I don't think a Sylveon, this whole Sylveon thing, I don't think it's worth more than just a 1/1 with Sylveon Choice Band, but I mean, that swings the Ray matchup. That's really where I'm coming from. I don't think Ray's that good. I think if you were at like day 2 of Worlds, I mean, Rayquaza Garb is very strong, but like just a straight up Rayquaza with elixirs, if like day 2 comes and there's not that many Ray players, yeah, you don't need Sylveon Choice Band, obviously. People are saying like, oh, we'll just Kukui and knock out an Ultra. How about no? You can beat Ultra pretty easily without it. You just knock out their Malays, parallel lock them early, and you're fine. It is tricky though if they hit Beast Ring. So, but yeah, that is the deck review. Sorry, this is like the first video in like way too long. I've actually been working on my other channel, which is my team channel, Team Suckmore. Hopefully I'll remember to put a link to it in the description. So, but yeah, hopefully I will have post decks. I actually have a few built, but I figured I would review this one because it's the relevant format as opposed to post where I guess nobody cares about. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, bell button, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next time.